Primary ignition.
This is Star Wars.
Look out!
Core World News.
You may fire when ready.
From the dune seas of Tatooine, I'm Grex Convac. You're listening to Core World News, your trusted homeland news service providing in-depth coverage for the latest stories from around the galaxy. Now, the news segment rundown for January 14th, 2022. The book report of Boba Fett. Now, our review of the book of Boba Fett, Chapter 3, The Streets of Mos Espa.
All right. Thank you very much, Grex. Welcome back, everyone. Another week, another Book of Boba Fett episode, which is fantastic. We're very glad to bring you the book report of Boba Fett. It's the best.
I read this book. I really like this book. It was about. Sorry.
Yeah, it was about Boba Fett.
Just shifted back to fifth grade book reports.
Yeah. So full spoilers coming, but before we do that, we would be amiss if we did not issue an apology. Mm-hmm. We missed a major.
I am so ashamed of myself.
Yeah, Easter egg from last week.
I didn't, right? Subconsciously, I didn't.
Subconsciously, you didn't. Grant got the closest. I was like, I love his hair. It's like very like OT hair. And then Grant was like, yeah, you could totally cut this right out of A New Hope.
And
that's as close as we got.
Yeah, we knew it, right? We were just being really subtle about it.
Oh, God. Adam, do you care to elucidate how bad we missed it?
Yeah,
I saw the names in the
See, this is why this is just failure of communication.
Are you sure A New Hope's your favorite movie, Adam? Are you sure?
I also love watching the deleted scenes, and that's what's also driving me nuts. And they cast people. So anyway, so the whole story is the scene where Boba Fett goes to basically take on the Swoop Gang is Tashi Station. Where Luke wants to go get power converters, which, by the way, he is totally lying to Uncle Owen. He just wants to hang out with his friends.
I've never heard beers called that before.
Yeah. Who are their friends, Cammy and Fixer, who are the people that the gang.
Your uncle could buy us some Curlian ale.
Yeah, totally. And they even cast actors that look a lot like the actors who played them. And so, I face planted last week on that one. If
I do lay that one at your feet, Adam.
It's I completely take all the blame for that, because as a person who loves that movie and I've watched those deleted scenes so many times. Yeah, missed it.
Sorry, you guys were rewarded with the Bomar Monk, the intro.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
That's very true. I know. I can tell you the entire backstory of the Bomar Monks, but you give me Cammy and Fixer and I miss it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always a lot of good Easter eggs in here, and it's fun picking them out.
Yeah.
And this episode was no different. There were some great ones there. But yeah, so it's like, this is like 3 episodes in one episode. It really sort of goes a lot of different places.
It does, but it reverses the formula of last week's, which was like 1/3 current timeline, 2/3 flashback, and now went the exact opposite way. It's like 1/3 flashbacks, if even that, and the rest is all
which is cool.
Timeline.
It's nice pacing. It's a good way to sort of split it all up.
Mm-hmm.
So we start current timeline, and Boba Fett gets no respect. He just no respect. He's the Rodney Dangerfield.
He is the Rodney Dangerfield.
Enough. Wait. Yeah. Matt Berry in this episode, 88 it might be the best droid of all time at this point.
The way he says Jabba is the best thing I've ever heard in Star Wars, and I'm not even going to pretend to I'm not even going to attempt to do it.
It's like, state your name and your business. And the guy's just like, no one respects him. He's like, enough. Boba's like, no, let him speak. Like that. Boba is. I'm loving Tamora Morrison. I think Tamora Morrison has entered like the upper echelons of the Felicity Jones and Adam Drivers. Whereas like the great actors. Like I really just love watching it.
And it's ironic because he does such good face acting when he's in that scene. Which is why I'm like, well, it's understandable why they're not putting Boba Fett in the helmet all of the time. because when you have a person that can act with his face like Tamora Morrison, you take advantage of it.
Yeah,
I found out what he's doing. What he's doing this episode is he's being a samurai. Like it's if you look at classic Kurosawa films, like the way Tamora Morrison's carrying himself in this performance of Boba is a samurai, like a Mifune character, like a but almost like some of the most regal, like a really distinguished samurai.
That's dead on. That's dead on. That's exactly it. And I love watching him do it. I will say I'm waiting to get more helmeted Boba Fett. Is that weird?
Yeah. No, it's not weird at all. I'm surprised with how little.
Love Tamora Morrison. He's a treasure. I love the way he's playing the character, and he's just like, and he's so consistent through every episode. But still, like, it's still Boba Fett, and it's not Boba Fett unless he's wearing the helmet.
I mean, we just talked for 5 minutes before recording about him possibly going to like another planet, like Nal Hutta, or somewhere like that. That could be incredible, honestly.
Right. Well, I think it was last week we talked about the fact that Boba Fett without the helmet and Boba Fett with the helmet are two different characters.
Yeah.
And which also again highlights Tamora Morrison's acting ability. Like he becomes a different person when he has that helmet on.
Yeah.
And
Could I be building up for him to like take it to the Pikes or the Hutts and like go to where they live. It would feel like after being on Tatooine this whole series, for it to actually go to a different planet at the end would feel super powerful.
This is a crime story. We're talking about families in this episode, right? Crime families, talking about syndicates. At some point, you got to steal from the Godfather. You got to go to the mattresses, right? Yeah. We haven't seen them go to the mattresses yet, which is gang war, basically, or family war. Yeah.
Right.
But 88 does set up like the territories of Tatooine quite early in this episode.
Right. You have there's 3 sections of Mos Espa. I am sort of curious at the size of the scale. I really thought if you're taking on Jabba the Hutt, you're taking on like a quarter of the galaxy. Like I figured like it was that big, but he's just going for Mos Espa. He's just supposed to be the big cheese in this town. And so it's split up into
local daimyo.
Which I would love to see spelled because I have no idea. So there's 3 sections of Mos Espa. One's run by the Trandoshans, one's run by the Aqualish, and the other one is run by the Klatooinians.
Yep.
I'm forgetting what a Klatoonian looks like. Can one of you guys?
They're one of the guards on the Jabba's palace or Jabba's sail barge. I can't remember to, but I
can't. It's like I could almost envision them, but I didn't. Like they're pretty popular.
What is the character from the show Resistance? The Nikto. He's a Nikto, right? So Nikto.
Yeah, his name is I forget the name.
Yeah, but he's a Nikto, Klatooinian.
We have Nikto on Tatooine for sure.
Yeah. I'll have to look.
No, Klatooinians are very common. You've seen them in the cantina.
Yeah.
What do they look like? Oh, okay. The Klatooinians, they look like they're like pit bulls on a human body, kind of.
Right.
Kind of.
Just bulldogs.
You've seen them before. You've seen them in the cantina.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have that, but that was under Bib Fortuna's watchful eye. 88 says. But all the while, they're all lining the pockets of Mok Shaiz, the Mayor Mok Shaiz, like the entire time. So you figure out this is the network right now. You gotta. And now Boba understands the network. Now this episode's all about Boba being tested, and it's his turn to make a move. But it kind of ends like abruptly. It's almost like a D&D campaign that has to wrap up too quickly. It's almost like they sent an assassin, and here's a gift. Like we're like it. We'll get to the whole story, but
good job stopping our assassin. Here's the gift. Okay.
Yeah, that didn't. Yeah, okay. And they're like, "Well, I'm gonna head out." Like, okay.
I'm just gonna my guys are gonna parade me back away from the desert right now.
Yeah. We out. I was gonna say, and we'll talk about it when we get there, but I really thought the gift, and I was just like, and this is how Boba Fett lost his hand. Anyway, we'll talk about that. I had a different story in my head where that was going, but we'll get there.
That's fascinating. I can't. So then we get Stephen Root. We get
the amazing, the great and good Stephen Root. Makes
It's
better.
fantastic.
Lortha Peel. He's playing Lortha Peel, a local watermonger in Mos Espa, who's dealing with a street gang of insolent youths who are stealing his inventory, his water.
I felt like I was
he
watching,
overcharges by like a dramatic part.
like 10x or something.
Yeah.
I felt like I was watching a Coen Brothers movie, like for like just this presentation, just because
no one respects you. The first line, "No one respects you," was standout, like iconic immediately.
I just love how much people will just say everything to Boba Fett and then immediately apologize about it, but still say it. Like, it's just such a great moment.
Yeah, people call him Lord
issue.
Fett now, which is kind of awesome.
It's an issue. Like, how come no one respects Boba Fett? Like, he has to remedy that, right? No one respects Boba Fett. Like, come on.
He's like, I have to make a move. He's like,
yeah, he almost does the thing, and then they like give him a gift and split.
Yeah,
and dip.
I mean, I don't know how else to say this. Would you respect Boba Fett?
That was a great line, too.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, sooner or later, he's got to start dropping the hammer, or I don't know, riding a Rancor.
Yeah, that sounds like something amazing that may not happen or may not happen.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. This was the first episode I bumped up against. Like, I loved all these episodes. And this episode was the first one where I was like, all right, there's a lot of interesting choices going on here. And I feel differently about each of them. They're all interesting.
Yeah.
To me, some of them I just felt like it felt ill-paced or something, or just like it happened too quickly. It maybe needed to have been a longer arc for certain things.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting you say that, man. Like, first of all, like, I definitely get prequel, like, Wylan vibes out of this episode. It's like, it's Wylan. But I think it's because it has so many different beats in this, like, really short episode. All these very disparate things occur. And I don't know. Yeah. It's like it switches movies every, like, 3 minutes or something. Or styles.
That's a good point. We'll talk about it for a second, but you're right, Ben. I just paused because I have it playing in the background. It is a good 15 minutes shorter than last week's episode. So that's interesting, right? That's something to be said. Daniel Logan watch.
3 for 3.
3 for 3.
3 for 3 on Daniel Logan. Yeah, there was another Camino flashback.
Yeah.
3 for 3. Is it just because he likes Daniel Logan? Like, I kind of think that's it.
Because I'm not trying to. I was talking to Carly about this. I'm like, because he keeps getting named in the credits.
Yes.
And that must mean you're getting paid as an actor, right? If you're named in the credits. So I wonder if part of it is like, because we've talked about how much Daniel Logan stands for Star Wars constantly as a big cheerleader of Star Wars. And so maybe it's a little bit of like, hey, we'll do this because you are an important part of this legacy, even though you're only in one movie, because that's the way it happens.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's part of an elemental theme of this series, though, is water, because even in that early conversation with the watermonger, Boba says, I came from a world of like water, like only water. Or like, it was all water. It's all ocean. And they talked about the oceans of Tatooine drying up and all this kind of stuff. And the water again. It's just like water became a very powerful symbol in this episode. And then he goes to investigate the street gang, and he goes there. Ben, you want more helmeted Boba Fett? He's helmeted in that scene. Like he goes in there like ready to be a heavy hitter, expecting some sort of dangerous cyberpunk gang. But I want that climactic Boba scene though, where it's like just him in his like gear, rocket packing against the side of a building, crashing through and like. See, we'll get to that. See, I think that could have happened maybe with like Black Chrysanthemum. It's like I feel like that character is perfect for like tossing Boba around and really giving you a set piece moment that could be worthwhile.
Or we could have him fight him in his underwear.
But in my opinion, it was a little too like 90s, practical creature horror film in like just like the portrayal of that fight, because I was like, I wanted Black Chrysanthemum to like I like the knuckles, I like the vibro knuckles. I thought that was awesome. I thought that was like the coolest part of that scene. But I thought I thought he would also be like really capable of the bounty hunter. Like even if there were other people, he'd have backup plans and all that kind of stuff. Just be, just a little wizened to the process of how to take people out.
I mean, dude, against the Black Chrysanthemum, I actually kind of like the way they shot it because the costume for Chrysanthemum looks so good.
It's so good.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah.
And,
you
get wides of a creature, which is like you don't usually. It's usually like weird tights and Dutch angles and stuff on it because it's like so bad. But
putting it all out there.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, you have to have people, but again, it's like sooner or later, Boba Fett better start kicking some butt.
I guess if we're talking about that, because that's the thing is I envisioned, and we still may get it because there's still 4 episodes left, a Black Chrysanthemum fight in full Boba Fett armor. And I at the same time
that makes sense.
That was
like
what I was
Karate
thinking.
Kid sort of thing.
And
with that rifle at play, that rifle was not at play. The rifle that was so intimidating that we saw,
but nothing was
has not been fired yet
because he was fighting in his underwear. Which I mean, I guess maybe you're going for like was it Eastern Promises? No, what's that movie where you're right, fighting in the nude? But like
bathhouse or
so like maybe there's part of that. And
Promises.
I will say there's imagine that reference. That's burned into my memory. So here's the thing: is like when I was watching this live, I loved that he wakes up from his flashback. We'll talk about the flashback in a bit, and like he just suddenly gets attacked. And that got me. Like, I'm like, here we go. I'm like, yeah. But then, like, I guess part of the issue I had, similar to what Grant was saying, too, is also, like, I feel like we've depowered Wookiees because, like, I feel like a Wookiee the size of Black Chrysanthemum versus a 50-something-year-old man in his underwear.
Maori warrior.
Which is fine. Yeah. Because there's a couple scenes where he's like whacking him in the head and it's not doing anything to Black Chrysanthemum. But like there's a moment where Black Chrysanthemum bites his hand. Did you see that part?
Yes.
Don't you think that would have just
take your hand off?
It would take your hand off, right? Or when he's like throwing him, the amount of power behind that throw should have shattered bones.
That's funny because Solo and Chewie bite each other in Solo.
That's right. Well, does Chewie bite?
I think they both bite each other.
I remember Han.
Han bites.
Han bites Chewie, which I love.
So
bites dog. That's good times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, okay, you guys are getting a little nitpicky here.
No. I just wanted Black Chrysanthemum to like take someone out. I wanted him to be like just
right. It did take 6 of them, and they didn't even kill him.
Nope. And I will say, like, I love the way he looks, and I'm so excited that we got it right after seeing him in the last episode. And there was some great stuff in there. I mean, when he hits him with the gaffy stick.
Yeah, that was serious. A couple times.
Awesome. He actually
got into him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's what was so scary because like Boba got his licks in early with that gaffy stick. Like he like severed his like Achilles and then like ran the thing through his back and it didn't even slow him down.
Yeah.
Anywho, big fight, good times, and then he
fights the Gamorreans. He sees the Gamorreans and just charges.
And jumps down a flight of stairs with them.
Yeah,
to me that was like, oh wow, like just
it's pretty comic book
them down the stairs and they all just tumble down the stairs. I was like, oh my god! And then the blocking, like we got it.
Yeah,
gotta get them over the Rancor pit.
Oh yeah.
I
was like, wouldn't a tight shot help here?
Works
so
every time.
Don't see that where they are, kind of like you just hide it a little bit. I don't know.
I will blame the Previously On, and I almost never watched Previously Ons because of this, and for some reason I did in this one. Because in the Previously On, I don't know if either of you watched it. They made a big.
I always skip that.
They make a big deal about the Night Wind guy falling in there. And you could think, well, they were telling a story because he's the one who says go to the mayor, right? But they show the fact that he falls in the Rancor pit and there's no Rancor in there. So I'm like, in my mind, and I was in the car, I'm like, well, clearly someone's going in the Rancor pit because they have to get a beast in the Rancor pit. So the second he starts fighting Black Chrysanthemum, I'm like, oh, Black Chrysanthemum's going in the Rancor pit. Like literally 4 seconds into the fight because of the Previously On. That's the
whose fault is it for watching the Previously On?
It's mine, and I will never do it again.
Yeah, I never watch that because especially with these, it's just like, and this is going to happen.
My dream. There's a lot of like, I hope this happens.
Wait, Boba's back broke in that scene?
I thought he was paralyzed. I was like, they're going to do paralyzed Boba Fett?
I thought they were
like, does Boba have to use the cybernetics now?
No, then he comes down in a smoking
like...
jacket or something. He's like,
yeah, he's like, that is a cozy. I want that robe. But he, I'm wondering if I can buy it in Black Spy or, next time I'm over.
Yeah, fucking doors.
I just wanted an 88, like stand up.
I was really hoping, and this is going to sound really cruel, but I was hoping he was just going to keep Black Chrysanthemum down there. And that was his, his menagerie. Like, we just keep a Wookiee down there now.
I know. I was wondering if he was going to do that. That would be messed up.
Yeah, felt like where it was going. Because, Fennec looked at him and was like, had this face of like, oh no, now we have to deal with this, and not for long, really. Like
then he just lets him go.
He lets him go, and then this is the second part of this is where it's going.
Why doesn't Black Chrysanthemum just like whip the Gamorrean down and like destroy Boba Fett and
or
take everyone out? Or
why didn't he just join Boba Fett? I really thought he'd just be like, okay, you bested me. Now now I'll work for you, right?
Right. If he offered him a job.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. I thought that's what was going to happen at the end of the episode.
He slowly jogs off screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the strangest part. Was he just jogs away? And
however,
he can't recruit everybody. That would be a pretty sweet sidekick. But he maybe laid the groundwork for something.
He's building a team, just like happens in Mando, right? And talking about building the team, I liked that he got the street. I want to call them street rats, which is really not a great term, but
scrum rats and
scrum rats,
terminology.
The street kids. I like
that. Pejorative, Adam.
I know.
Yeah, that is.
I know. It's real bad. We can cut that out.
Aren't they called
I think it's funny. It's fake. It's all fiction, by the way.
I know.
None of this is
real. This is all not real.
We're not really on a space station right now.
I still feel bad. But I was going to say, I like that. I like this idea that he's taking kids under his wing. It seems like a very Boba Fett thing to do since he's clearly obsessed with families and children and fathers. I kind of wish they were younger. Does that sound weird?
We were talking about how this is kind of like The Godfather or like A Bronx Tale or whatever we were discussing before. But now it's kind of like there's a little bit like The Warriors now, or like The Outsider or something.
Yeah, there really is.
And then also there's
Warriors.
I imagine there's like horror movies that like teens befriend like an older man and then like a monster attack. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure. And that's what this formula was almost in this episode.
Yeah.
It was like it was really, really fun. It was like a really fun, entertaining episode. I really think Black Chrysanthemum should have like defeated more people, but that's just my own opinion.
That's a fair.
I was like, I was really pulling for him and that entire fight. I didn't want him to take out Boba, but I wanted him to like throw Boba aside and then I don't know, take out other people.
I mean, there's also
take out some of those
faceless
right?
teams.
Yeah, they're right there. Didn't he rip like a piece off someone's leg or something?
Yeah, if they have droid parts, just rip the droid parts off. There's no blood, no harm, no foul. Like it just shows his strength as an awesome bounty.
Throwing limbs around.
Okay,
mechanical limbs.
All right, this is one fight we've been talking about it for.
That's all I've been saying. That's all I want to say. And then he should come back. Hopefully he comes back later.
I think he will. I don't think you said not come back. Because it also looks great. That's the other reason why I probably didn't enjoy it.
It looks so
that's probably a very expensive.
Looks insane.
The amount of time to get that makeup going is they're probably like, we can't have him here every episode.
Right.
It takes too much time and
for too long, totally.
So
still, wouldn't you like them to do the effort in like of anything you could like go all out on? It's like do some creature stuff for this because like is there any chance we're moving pretty quick here? We already got the death of the Tuskens, which we would like been like, oh, that's going to happen several episodes away. At least that's what I thought.
It's done already.
Wait,
already.
Wait, can we talk about that pacing right there? And can we talk about the Pikes and the significance of the Pikes in a Boba Fett show? Like, how do we feel about that's what I bump up against. That's ultimately what I bump up against.
We had an episode like 4 episodes ago where we were like, the Pikes are the most likely clan to show up in this episode.
Yeah, which is
no,
fine.
I think one of us said that. One of us said that was the clan, right? That was the
this guy right here.
Yeah,
this guy.
It's all bad. I have no problem with that. It's just I will just say the odd thing about it is that the Hutts said there's another syndicate. We are suspiciously not naming that syndicate. Not going to say who it is. And then it's just the other syndicate we see in the episode. It was a weird, like, why not just say it's the Pikes from the jump? It's not going to be a surprise.
And then
I don't know.
All the flashbacks deal with the Pikes. It seems that the Pikes will be the main
villain
antagonist syndicate.
Which I'm okay with because they look awesome. Like, I'm really liking the design on them.
But still, again, it came from a text message that I thought I saw, but didn't want to see. I didn't want to spoil the episode. But I thought they were building up a bigger syndicate. It's like, yes, there'd be something else. I understand they're tying both of the timelines together, the Pikes, right? But it was like, no, it's this other syndicate and it's the Black Sun, and they're like, yeah.
Wait, is there an Obadiah like reference in Boba Fett at this point?
Who's Obadiah?
It's like their homeworld.
That's right.
So Pike's homeworld?
It sounds
also
familiar.
Phil Lamar. Shout out to Phil Lamar who.
Did he do the voice?
He voices the crime boss for the Pikes.
Oh, that's awesome.
That
I was wondering how many people were controlling that character at the time.
Yeah.
You think there's people that do the facial expressions, and then there's the actor like doing the mannerisms?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
What I'll say is that we're only in episode 3, and things do, as you mentioned, move very quickly. So I still think there might be someone behind the Pikes, because I agree. I don't see the Pikes as a crime. We talked about this when we talked about crime syndicates, I don't know, a few episodes ago, that the Pikes just seem like drug runners. They don't seem like they're going to be stealing territory or trying to, like, why do they care about Tatooine, to be honest? Like, why are they coming to take it over?
Well, so that was the thing. Like, when we did our research for the syndicates, we learned that the Tatooine was a homeworld for spice, but I thought they actually mined spice here. But apparently, no, they're just this is just
part of the triangle.
Well,
this could be
for part of the triangle, right?
Yeah,
with
this could be our in to understanding that entire world, right? Like the spice triangle, where the spice goes. Why the Pikes, find it to be so lucrative, and how?
Well, maybe we still have 4 episodes. Maybe I can't believe how much ground we've covered in just 3 for what's felt like a slow paced, slow played show.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's going to be another shoe to drop. That's going to be a big one. And I'm wondering, we've got I would call Black Chrysanthemum like a C-list sort of Star Wars celebrity. Do you think we'll get like a B-list Star Wars celebrity? I don't even want a Han Solo.
Well, the thing is, the Hutts are going to hire someone else. It seems like Boba calls out the Hutts in this episode in a big way, where he's like, these are Hutts, like, waiting will only give them another opportunity to strike again. Like, he says stuff where it's like the Hutts are just going to keep going after you until you just don't exist, especially if they feel like you have any bad feelings against them. I feel like they're just terrifying. They're a terrifying crime network that's been in existence for a long time.
And yet the Hutts cower to the Pikes.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like the other thing about the Hutts is that they are hedonists, and they don't want to get their
they're not
two-faced. Exactly. Yeah. They don't want to get their hands dirty.
Yeah.
So what we've learned from the last 2 episodes is the mayor says, I didn't hire the things. I didn't hire the assassins. Go talk to what's her Gorza Thwip?
Yeah.
Gorza Thwip, yeah.
Thwip, which Spider-Man, anyone? Anyway, and then she's like, okay, we'll go outside. It's the Hutts. That's like, no, it wasn't me. It was the Pikes. Like, it's clearly he's just getting the runaround from all these people.
Guys, I know to walk out of a building and just be confronted by the twins. Like, that just needs to happen at this point. I've seen it too many times.
For me, it's just high comedy every time.
Yeah.
like
eating
seeing
him
them
like the
roll
whatever
up.
gerbil that is, or guinea pig. whatever
Yeah.
that is.
Oh yeah, then he dabs his forehead with like a live gerbil.
Yep. It's pretty great.
It's a good bit.
It's a good.
All right. So I know we have one more big thing, literally, that we want to talk about.
No,
But I have a question for you.
All right.
Who let Black Chrysanthemum into the palace?
He just found his way in, man. He probably belayed up a window, a wall, or something outside.
There's a traitor. There's always a traitor in
There's
these
a
things.
traitor?
Yep, and it is 100%.
The
Any
droid.
guesses? No.
BDD.
No.
Fennec.
No,
can't be
it's
Fennec.
Fennec Shan. Come on. It's 100% Fennec Shan. She's
Really?
totally.
He
She's
brought her back to
Fredo.
life.
She's the Fredo. She's the
Okay.
Fredo.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
That's a
that's
bold
a
call,
gangster
Adam.
epic right there.
Yeah.
If you want to, if we're really doing an early crime film, like, yeah, sure.
Yep.
That makes sense because you only have so many billed actors in an early crime film, early gangster film.
Calling it. Anyway.
That makes a lot of sense.
It makes sense. but it would be,
I thought
that'd be
he
a
was
twist.
building a
Twist already.
cadre. I thought he was building like a fighting force like around him. I didn't think he was going to just settle with just one companion. I thought he was going to build I thought Chrysanthemum was going to join. I thought
Yeah.
Well, he's got the.
Then we get like a four-alarm or something.
the
Yeah.
Huts are going to hire someone else to come after him, like Bosk. I'm really fingers
Yeah.
crossed. Bosk.
Again, I want
That's what I
to.
want.
Exactly. I want to revisit Ben.
Let's get a
Big
B-lister. Give me a B-list.
Exactly. Ben's B-list question. I
Big
think
time.
you're right. I think we're going to get some of the original bounty hunters.
Give me
Big
one.
time.
Give me a Dengar.
I'll take again to Dengar.
Oh, you want a Dengar?
I want a Simon Pegg as Dengar. That's what I want.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
That could really happen. I
could
think he's done shooting the next 7 Mission Impossible films because that's all he does now.
Oh,
And I think he
That's
might
good
be
life.
up.
That's a good life
bad.
right there.
but.
Been working what
All right,
6 months a
let's
year?
talk about the big element.
the
that we haven't
elephant in the room. Wait,
Yeah.
no. If only there was another metaphor in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yes, the
Danny
he is-
Trejo.
yeah,
we're on different
Danny
topics.
Trejo. Yes. I was like,
I mean,
Trejo. Like,
also,
no,
like,
they kept him
come
on
on.
super wides for a while, and I was
I
like,
know.
it's not Danny Trejo.
I was like, come on, Robert Rodriguez. It's your first
That
episode.
was very obvious.
Yeah.
Who
One
directed this?
episode.
Oh yeah, okay, Robert.
Yeah.
Rodriguez.
Which, don't get me wrong, he's great and he did wonderful in this role. I am always
Actually,
big.
He's a
fantastic.
treasure. He's
Which
so
is
good.
Dathomir never sounded so good.
If
Yeah.
Sounded so good.
it's so good.
They can become they're very loving. The line he
Yeah,
drops about
yes.
Rancor is being. So here we go. There's a Rancor that's being given
Yes.
to Boba Fett as a
as
gift.
a gift, yeah,
Right.
in
I
this
mean,
episode.
everyone knows that. That's
and it proves that that Boba Fett has a heart because
yeah.
he is in love with this Rancor very quickly. Like he takes this pet immediately.
Yo, it's a
There-
callback to the Christmas special.
Yeah.
He was like,
is.
I've ridden beasts larger than this.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
That's theme number 1 from this episode is
Yeah.
I've ridden beasts 10 times like the size of this. Like the way he looks at the Rancor is awesome in that
Yep.
moment.
yeah.
Tamora Morrison.
I have a feeling this is the
Amazing
Attack
one.
of the Clones of the book.
It might.
of Boba
This
Fett.
episode is, I think.
Yeah.
So it's most prequely of all the episodes.
Like, think of how the lore bombs just in
When
this
he
episode.
goes-
They're
when
wild.
he's like a full Ronto carcass from the larder, he's like, I think it's hungry. And when he says I think it's hungry, it might
Yeah.
be the best line delivery I've heard in Star Wars.
Dude,
for
I love how you geek over Tam. You're just
Yeah.
like, he's the
I
greatest
geek
actor
so hard
that's ever
over his
happened, and I'm
delivery.
It's
Yeah,
so
I
good.
love his
So I love what they did with this, but let me rewrite it for a second because my brain thought because they kept having the blinders on and the imprinting thing, where I'm like, is this like a long con where like they're actually just mindless beasts and they don't imprint? And like, and it was just gonna be like, okay, take the blinders off, and then suddenly the Rancor just starts going after Boba Fett. Like that's what I thought
meanwhile,
was gonna
Trejo is
happen.
laughing.
That would be
Can
like
you
the last
believe that?
And then he runs out and shuts the door behind him, and then we get a Boba Fett versus Rancor fight. I mean, I like where it went, but that's where my mind was like, this is no way this is actually going to be him taming a Rancor.
That would be a really funny bit.
Yeah.
That would be a really funny
That's where I thought it was going, but I'm so excited we're going to get to see Boba Fett riding a Rancor. In fact, I thought that's how he was going to go confront the mayor.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to go. And the way the pace is going now, we're going to see Boba Fett on a Rancor next.
Wouldn't the last shot of the entire season be him on a Rancor?
No, because every time you say
streets and be like looking down at the camera, and this is like
Grant. Every time you say what the end of the season's going to be, it happens the next episode.
Listen, as long as that Rancor is alive, Boba Fett isn't walking anywhere.
Yeah, that's going to be his, whatever it's called.
He's going to go down to get the mail at the bottom of the street on a Rancor. He's going to come back. Like, if you had a Rancor, you would just ride the thing all the time.
Well, the thing is, they've talked about like patrolling the streets and like being carried around like
on a litter.
Noble, and all these kind of ways to kind of show your power. And I think the best way to show your power on Tatooine, in my opinion, is to ride a Rancor through the streets.
Agreed.
In my humble opinion,
that's all I'm gonna say.
I'm just gonna suggest that perhaps riding a Rancor. As if that's not the most awesome thing ever. Jedi on a Rancor is its own alert, but like Boba on a Rancor,
it's ridiculous because it's all classic Star Wars elements.
Yeah,
it's really nothing outside of the original, designs.
I know all the money they saved on that speeder chase, they're gonna put right into having him ride a Rancor for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Oh right, there was also a speeder chase in this.
I want to see a Rancor like snatch a starship out of the sky.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. I just got to see it, but you got to think that's going to be the budget. Like,
I mean, Rancors are amazing. Ever since like I was reading about one of the Star Wars books that they're basically just crustaceans.
Really?
Yeah, like the closest relative is a crustacean. So basically, like a giant land crab,
like a clam.
Yeah, or crab, but but like it's amazing. Yeah.
Are they like an oyster?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I'm thinking shellfish. I'm saying crustaceans, like lobsters.
When I hear imprint, though, I think of little fuzzy ducklings, and I think
totally
juxtaposition that they're doing that.
It looks like the dragon from Willow, though, too. Like like the Rancor and the Willow dragon are very similar, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't rewatched. I loved Willow when I was a kid. I tried to rewatch it a few years ago, and the brownies kind of sent me packing, so I got to go back and try it again.
There's a new Willow, I think.
I know, a new series, Disney Plus series.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'll watch anything Warwick Davis is in.
Yeah.
Right. That was a nice tie back in, because I was going to say this isn't going to become a Willow podcast.
I mean, he was great, and what was that? He was in a Ricky Gervais produced
a Full-Ronto
show that was really good.
Yeah, that was a very good show. And I can't think
also,
of it.
Can we shout out when Fennec Shand sips like the Tonneray wine? Like, we just like that was an amazing scene.
When was that?
That happened.
I don't remember that.
They have all that food that like.
Oh right,
the feast.
Yeah, the feast.
The feast scene. There's like a million weird disjointed scenes in this.
Yeah.
This episode.
Oh, I guess the other thing, since we missed a cameo last week, we will mention that we did notice. Yes, we did notice that the spaceport.
Yes, in Mos Eisley. He goes to Mos Eisley.
When he goes to Mos Eisley in the flashback, we do see the one played by Amy Sedaris walking in the background with pit droids.
I know. I can't think of her Star Wars.
I can't think of her name either, but we caught it. We saw it.
And that was a crossover with The Mandalorian, right? Yeah. They're showing them put the helmets on the Snokes.
I mean, so that's the interesting thing, right? So we are building the Mandoverse that Boba Fett is firmly established within. Yeah. We know the third of possibly 4 shows, but as of right now, only 3 shows is Ahsoka, right? We know that's going to be part of that universe. What's interesting is like we have Jon Favreau has written these first 3 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. I mean, he's got to be giving Ahsoka over to Dave Filoni, right?
I would think
Ahsoka is Dave Filoni's like brainchild.
It's just interesting because, like, I thought for sure we'd have more Robert Rodriguez.
Well, hopefully we
show,
will in something.
Yeah.
I think the Hutts are gonna, or the Pikes, or someone. The thing at the end of this episode. Okay, so we need to like blaze through this episode. So he gets a Rancor, all this kind of stuff. But then like these Pikes, like basically you find out the Pikes are Mukshai's. The mayor is aligned with the Pikes, and everyone's aligned with the Pikes. And the Pikes are now landing on this Starliner at the end of the episode, and they come out like in droves, and they look threatening. It's like almost like they slow it down to like 180 frames per second or something.
Yes,
as they walk, and it's like
the Starliners.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna fight them like next episode, basically. Like, is that the thing? Is that the next threat? The Pikes?
I mean, that's the next threat.
Maybe, or if the show is keeping with the pattern that it's established, next week's going to be a heavy flashback episode.
Well, yeah, so I think that's where they're going to tie together, right? The Pikes, but it's only the 4th episode. But because so one scene we kind of blew through also was that he came back to find that the Nikto speeder riders killed his whole clan,
wiped out. Yeah,
the whole clan, they were gone, and so but they did that because they were getting money from the Pikes for protection money against the Tuskens, and he was just like on the wrong side of that and misplayed it and got everyone killed.
Isn't there a trailer where he has like all the people?
Yep.
We get 88 breaking down the territories of Mos Espa. Doesn't he have all the families from each territory
at a table,
dinner party?
We still haven't seen
there like a dinner party sequence?
Oh yeah,
that might be next episode. That's a good call. I also will say the only evidence of who wiped out the Tusken Raiders was the graffiti of that biker swoop. So there's always a chance he's once again being misled.
Yeah.
All right. So the spice that was moving through over the desert.
Yes.
Why?
Don't know.
To get to the other side.
Yeah. That's why I crossed the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the largest question, Grant?
It's not mined on Tatooine, right? Like,
I don't know. That's the thing. We don't really know what Tatooine's role is,
right?
In the spice trade. Like we haven't found that out.
Get into that so we understand why these things are, moving around.
I think we will, because it's interesting. Like the Matt Berry droid 88, his opening discussion of Mos Espa, I'm like, oh, this is really interesting information. It's odd we're getting it in season or episode 3, right? Like it was like, so, which I don't necessarily mind. Like, don't front load all your exposition. So I think we'll get a spice exposition, probably maybe next episode in a flashback.
What is your petition to Lord Fett?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they're already exposing the like quote unquote main villain in episode 3, I feel like there's going to be more villains to come.
Wait, is this is this 7 episodes?
7. Okay. So it's
we might be doing Nal Hutta. That might happen, honestly.
Maybe.
It's been
I'd like to see him off
Tatooine. And again, we've talked about this. So we really need to weigh in on this Street Gang. I love the Street Gang. I love the characters themselves. Just the mopeds I felt were a little like retro sci-fi Jetsons without the Macquarie sort of scheme.
Yeah, it definitely stands out in a way that felt odd. Yeah, and I think that's a good thing. I mean, I don't want to. I mean, the internet's been aflame as
the internet has been going insane over this.
Everyone needs to relax.
Everyone needs.
Let's just move past this because it's incredible. And then we over text message were just like, they would be incredible on Coruscant or like Nal Hutta. It would make perfect sense. But then, hey, maybe the show might unfold in a way where we find out they are involved with Nal Hutta. They make perfect sense being on Tatooine. I've just always been a fan who's thought Tatooine is just such a inhospitable planet.
Anything that's on Tatooine for like a week, it's old.
Just gets weathered immediately.
Yeah.
I will also say I appreciate that we have this gang of kids who all have these cybernetic enhancements.
Yeah, which are great.
in a
last shot.
galaxy where your big bad evil was a half man, half machine, and kids like to be
Punk rock right
edgelordy,
there. Yeah.
right? Like part of me was like, this is of course. They're like, oh, Darth Vader was a badass. I'm gonna
Do
be
you
more
think
like
there
Darth
was like
Vader.
propaganda
Yeah.
where they're like flexing like Vader as an enforcer and being like Vader's like Vader's saber guy?
Yeah, I mean,
or like
That'd be
something.
funny if it was a little meta and everyone was just like, as like terrible as like Vader was, they were just like, he was pretty cool.
That's they're tagging. They're tagging.
They're like, I know this is
a la-
wrong to say, but
He was so metal.
I know it's also like a la like Hawkeye. They're tagging places saying Vader was right.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like, because that's what kids do. Like they try to worship whatever is going to get the biggest rise out of the squares, right? And so I like that they gave these kids like exactly counterculture. Like,
right.
So I appreciate
we didn't get any.
They
of
feel
this
like a
background
late
on them.
'80s Venice counterculture punk.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the execution was
early
not
punk.
exactly what I was
Hackers,
expecting.
cyberpunk. Yeah, William Gibson.
Well, again, man, it comes back to Attack of the Clones. Like
Yep.
the first thing I thought when I saw the speeders was Anakin's, the one he jacks in the speeder chase, the open air like hot rod speeder. Right. He like steals right before they go to the club and all that, and and I was like, oh, it's kind of the same thing. If you look at the designs, there's like that retro 50s sort of like old car with turbo blasters on the back that sort of set them going.
So there's also a retro 50s diner on Coruscant. Coruscant is a retro 50s Art Deco, like environment. You know what I mean? Like I feel like those they look good.
They do.
There.
It's a deep pull.
It's jarring.
Yeah, it's a deep lore pull by Rodriguez and or Favreau because he wrote it. But I mean, now I'm realizing this episode is just like one deep pull after another.
It is, and it's very. It's a love letter to a lot of prequel Lucas stuff. Like the comedy bits during the chase are very prequel. Like that when the protocol droid almost gets hit like 4 times. Very prequel. When they go flying through a painting of Jabba the Hutt. Yeah, it's very it's very prequel humor, which is fine. Like that's part.
There's
of
a lot of fruit in those.
Stands.
I was like, wow,
the Rebels fans out there. The last thing that his speeder crashes into is Meluron fruit.
Yeah, which, by the way, if anyone's watched Back to the Future 1 or Back to the Future 2, it was very reminiscent of Biff's, the end of the chase with Biff, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
so doesn't he go into poop?
He goes into poop, but you're not going to do it in Star Wars. But it's very similar the way it's shot.
Right.
And hey, if we got anything from Star Wars, we know, and from Solo, they will reference a Back to the Future.
Yeah.
There are some references in this that I really were beyond me, though, like in terms of dialogue. In terms just the lexicon that Boba Fett is familiar with. Like,
Good,
like what, Grant?
About
you better fight as good as you talk dank. Like I had to like turn on the subtitles. I was like, what did he just say? What was that? And then the next one was gather up your yak and follow me. It was almost like Edward James Olmos and like
so can we totally. That's right. What was the first...
also like in Mandalorian when he's like, well, isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? But he's like, isn't that the hoon tuned down to the like meow meow something like he it was like this weird reference of a bunch of crazy words. It's like Boba speaks Jeff.
It's very similar to in Star Trek. Whenever they need to cite something historical, they'll do 3 references. They will do 2 references from actual history and then make up a name. It's because it takes place in the future. And so it's very similar of like now in this new Star Wars, when they do a reference, it's like something we know from Star Wars and then a new word. Like they'll do it all the time. So, but Grant, to go back to
I like that for Boba Fett though, because
totally
speak and like the idea that he's been to like a metro. He's been I think
all over the galaxy.
In a lot of our headcanon, he has been to these giant mega cities, these giant ecumenopolis planets where he's.
And I don't want to lose us I don't want to get us an explicit rating, but I want to parse apart for a second. The first, you better what blank? You better read the first one.
Fight as good as you talk dank.
Talk dank, which means you better fight as good as you talk the S word.
Bleep.
Correct? Yeah. So, but then we hear dank ferric, and now I'm trying to pull this apart because that would be blank.
It doesn't work 1-to-1.
Right. Like that doesn't quite work. So I'm going to try to let it go, but that's making me a little whatever.
Right. Yeah. Poodoo. We get that.
Poodoo. We know what poodoo is.
Guys.
Quick.
What Jawas? Adam, you got 2 Jawas in the street corner.
Yeah. And we're not.
And grimy little.
Just grinding on that street corner.
Sweaty little Jawas.
They were yellow-eyed Jawas, not red-eyed Jawas.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, they were from Tatooine. They're not off-world Jawas.
Exactly. They weren't the off-world Jawas. But
classic.
Because in the last episode during his vision quest, he saw off-world Jawas.
Because they had red eyes.
Yeah. But I also think in the first episode, he was scavenged by off-world Jawas. And I feel like this is just continuity stuff that they don't quite. I think we're putting together more than they are.
During the day, the yellow eyes work, but during the night, the red eyes work.
Oh, actually, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. There you go.
Right, because like just from a visual standpoint,
you're like using different vision. Yeah.
In the tree, the vision with the tree, those red eyes are supposed to be Jawas.
Yes.
In the concept art.
Yes. I would say I've had this episode running on repeat since we started taping, which was hours ago. So I've now seen this episode 5 times. The speeder bikes are bothering me less.
Right?
I feel like that
second time through, it didn't bother me as much.
Isn't that always the way Star Wars works? Is if they introduce something new, like you just if you watch a couple times, it just starts getting into
part of it.
It's fine.
And like you realize, like mathematically or scientifically or literally, it does relate to other parts of Star Wars. It's just not the one you were expecting.
They are like a future tech street gang. They are like they seem to be like using like cutting edge droid tech. And they don't seem to be using like secondhand droid tech. Like their gear looks pretty advanced.
If they're literal gearheads, they're gonna have different looking speeders.
And I like that. I think part of it is the headcanon that we have worked on together. That that's helped me a little bit through it. Where it's just like, well, because we do know now Hutta very much these speeders would look very in line with now Hutta.
Perfect. They would look perfect.
Yeah, thank you, Narshada.
I want to see those places, man.
I think we might. I think it might be season 2 because I really think with the way the story's going is season 1's all about him gaining control of Mos Espa. I don't think it's going to get larger than that.
You think we're going to get a second season?
I do. Why wouldn't we? So to get kind of like practical about it, I'm sure it's doing well. It's getting a lot of talk about it. And sometimes it's all related. It's like if you look at the Marvel stuff, it's about contracts with the stars. I mean, Tamara Morrison, I think, is very happy playing this role and be very happy to keep playing it.
The reason I would say that they wouldn't, and I hope they do, is oversaturation. I think they're just like, they don't want people to get sick of Boba Fett.
What is Boba's final act, though? Because he is in the bacta tank quite a bit. I'm just wondering what his final act is at this point. That's kind of what this show's making me think about.
Figure out why he has cloning sickness, but that's just my guess.
A really good guess. Like how crazy would fans go if like the next shot in the flashback was just like blinding white and it was the hallways and like you get one of the Kaminoans like talking to him. You know what I mean? Like how
I would love that.
Would people go? People would go.
I think
they keep showing the same flashback over and over again.
But it's always on
Logan checks.
Come on, just do it.
Yeah.
People would lose their minds if they saw that. And then it was like a secret plan that's been going on forever. That's like he's involved with like a hidden agenda to take over whoever abuses the Kaminoans.
Yeah, and to have it be like prequel characters, like CG prequel characters that do it. You know what? I miss CG Star Wars. I'm just gonna come out and say it 45 minutes into this. this Boba Fett podcast. I just like I kind of want to see more CG Star Wars, like a whole like show that's
the
all
twins
CG.
are fully CG.
Let's say you're getting them in the huts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
but
look
like
good,
fully. Like ever since that Eclipse trailer, I'm like, yo, why don't we just do that?
I would no, and I
You
and,
will
and,
in a new trilogy.
and Ben, I completely agree. If they can do it to the level of that Eclipse trailer, I think the blending of the practical and the volume and the CGI they're doing in the Mandoverse is kind of perfect, and I don't want them to mess with that formula too much because I think when they start, because to be honest, some of the stuff that kind of did not connect to me in that speeder chase was when it was clearly CGI stuff going on, and it just looked fake.
I didn't see any CGI in that. I just saw blurred out wheels and a couple of hover rounds. Like,
I thought that would be hard to do. So this is another thing I bumped up against. I was like, why would you want to show off too much of the streets? Like the streets are so enchanting as they are. That, like you don't really need to do like expose them too much. You know what I mean? Like I think you can do what you do with the volume and do shooting against just one production design set, and you don't need to really like reverse shot or like move around too much because it's just so compelling. Just like everything looks incredible on Tatooine.
It was gratuitous to me. I was like, of all the like action sequences, it's going to be chasing the Major Domo through the thing, and he's going to just like turn over immediately as soon as he's got.
It was odd. It was odd too because I'm like, this character is not an action hero.
Right.
So I'm like, he it ended the way it was supposed to end, but I'm like, this chase isn't thrilling me because it's like it's less about the Major Domo and more about all of the
cyberpunk teams,
but also all the random stuff in the way of the cyberpunk team.
Yeah, it was like a way to make more lore.
Traffic. Yeah,
right.
I did respect the wall ride though. That was pretty.
Yeah, awesome. That was pretty cool.
Wall ride was cool. That was cool. And we did get to see Jetpack Boba Fett, which is
yeah.
Like I need that more. I need more Jetpack Boba Fett. Yeah, he's a man. That Major Domo is a funny character, but it just it's like a wild, like okay, I guess, and we're off. But like think about like the production expense to like all those practical effects they used in that, or crazy.
It's amazing. So this is the first of 3 Robert Rodriguez episodes directed. I think. So he's doing 2 of the next 4.
Right.
So that's my question: is do you think he's going to do a straight shot of trilogies like 3, 4, 5, or do you think they're going to split it up a little bit?
No idea.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that?
I heard he was doing 5, 6, 7.
Well, he's not.
Because he's done 3.
Because he's already done 1 and he has 2 more, but maybe he's doing 6 and 7.
He's done episode 3, so maybe 6 and 7.
Or reports are wrong and he did 4, which might be. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it's interesting, right? It's the first time in any of these seasons we're going to get someone doing multiple episodes in a single season, right?
Well, I think didn't Filoni have 2 on season, or Favreau had 2?
Season 1? Well,
yeah. Actually, Favreau, no. And then what's his name? Famuyiwa had 2 as well.
Didn't they just give like series off to like other directors though? Like, didn't they just like? Aren't they hiring those directors to do full-on series now?
Well, I know Deborah Chow is doing it, but no reports yet about
Rick Famuyiwa.
Yeah,
who was my favorite?
He's like the one I want most. Like, I want him to do a
Star
feature.
Wars.
So give him a trilogy, dude. Like I
know.
He's doing another Disney Plus show, so I think they stole him away from Star Wars for a little bit. He's doing the Children of Blood and Bone, which, by the way,
that's another Lucasfilm property, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. That first book.
Yeah, I'll do anything that guy directs now.
It's really good.
I'll watch anything he directs. It's awesome.
But I think we also have. Isn't Bryce Dallas Howard doing an episode 2 this season? I thought I saw. I might be making that up. I thought she was.
That sounds familiar. I'm forgetting the names that they listed off. We did a podcast like 70 episodes ago.
That just leaves like one other person.
Yeah, because I thought Mandoverse was just splitting off into a bunch of series and everyone.
Well, as of right now, they were supposed to be the Rangers of the New Republic, and that got scrapped. And now there's just Ahsoka's the only other one.
Oh, and Acolyte.
That's not part of the Mandoverse.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
guess it's
the
just
whole
Ahsoka,
thing.
isn't it?
I could
thought
see
there was another-
Filoni sharing Ahsoka with Bryce and Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought that.
totally. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Filoni's
They're
not.
very
Filoni's
forced.
going to
like, you know
write
the
that
Force with
series. Like, I don't think he's going to direct many of those,
Yeah, he might.
but I think he's going to write that.
more of the Favreau role in that show.
Yeah. That'll be
That
fun.
show is going to be very exciting. That's basically the Luke Skywalker show. Everyone's like, "Oh, the Luke Skywalker show." It's like Ahsoka will be that. I
Pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, that voice you're doing, that was me. I'm the one that
Sorry.
Skywalker.
That was the most fans. I feel like I just had to do that voice. Just
It was appropriate. I talk like that a lot, actually. I want to like for just before this. I was like, I want to.
Ahsoka will be that show, like effectively, like it's a Jedi
An
exploring.
OP Jedi exploring the galaxy. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm here for it. It's gonna be wild. All right, let's put Boba Fett to bed for week 3. Thanks very much, everyone, for watching the show, listening to us talk about it. Get at us on the Soch, and we'll do it again next week. Can't wait. Also, this week it came out. If you're into the books or just want to know what's going on in the High Republic, we just reviewed the recent novel by Claudia Gray called Fallen Star, which is great. The 3rd novel from the High Republic. So listen to that and find out what's going on in that whole place, man. It's wild. Wilding in the High Republic right now. So great. Thanks very much for listening to us. We'll talk to you next week, and may the Force be with you.
This is Grex Kondak signing off. For the latest breaking news, follow @CoreWorldNews on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you and good night.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
The end.
Yeah.
Is this the book report of Boba Fett?
Yeah. The Boba Fett book report.
Oh yeah,
Actually,
the
it was the book of
Boba Fett.
I kind of like the book report of Boba Fett, though.
I also agree. That is much better. The book report of Boba Fett.
Wait,
100% worth calling it. Yep.
Wait, we figured it out.
Yep. 3 episodes in, we got it.
Episodes in, we got it. That you knew it was there, right? It was in there
It
somewhere.
was something there. That's awesome. I love that. That's amazing.